All right, here's what we're planning on doing. Tom's going to do something where you can tell stories, and I can kind of jump the gun. I've got some other stories.
You've already stolen all my thunder.
Not with this group.
Oh, I can find me a little bit.
We're going to do this for the record. We're going around and we're going to ask you, and I'm including non-teachers too. Marshall, this means you too. Evelyn, this means you. And I want you to tell us what you've been doing the last 20, 30 years, since whenever you retired or whenever you left here. For Ralph, you know, we coached together. You probably don't remember that. I wasn't much of a coach. Dean and I coached
You remember
together.
you wasn't much of a coach.
Anyway, we're going to go around there. I want you to tell some essentials this time. That means you don't have to tell your age, Allie. But most of you know you're over now.
Not much.
6 months. Anyway, but I know you like to talk about grandkids. And I hate to tell you this, but sometimes I do things and I always said in Sunday school, get my foot in my mouth. Like, you know, I have a wooden leg. I lost a whole leg through these years. But anyway, sometimes I'll say something to somebody. There's one lady in our church. I said, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but she said, I was talking, I said, your hair is really lovely. And I started to touch it. And she said, don't touch my hair. Well, I didn't think much about it, you know. I found out later she was wearing a wig. But I wouldn't have ever done that, see. And so sometimes if you've been talking to people and you say, how's your wife? And they say, well, you know, this is a different wife or something. And so that happens quite a bit. So what we're going to do, I want you to go around and tell about yourself. Brag on yourself. Because we're going to give you a compliment.
Every
We
word.
want you to brag on yourself, tell about your career, tell about your grandkids, your kids, and tell about tell about some of those wild parties y'all used to have when I was in high school. George had already told me some of those. I heard about that all-night trip to So, we'll start with that. You're not old enough.
No, but this is very enlightening.
He can hardly wait to get away from here to tell all this other
That's right. I thought y'all were all so good.
This is a former student.
So, you want me to call your name? Evelyn? Okay. Well, we're going to mainly do teachers, but I do want you at least, this is Evelyn, what's your last name? Evelyn Huntington. All right? We'll start with George, you can talk about her.
Oh, gosh. How far back, Dick? You know,
Not too far, George.
and the Super Reader's Digest version, right? She won't. Well, let's see. I worked here in Lamar for 26 years. We retired 17 years. And I've just been sitting on the front porch and just doing what comes along. I have a big story in my life just recently is we have our first grandson. I have 2 daughters and 1 son. Neither of my daughters are married, but the son comes along with the grandson, so that's great news for us. I'll turn it over, just cross the way.
Okay.
To Mr.
Can you
Williams.
get it?
Now, I'll go on, and that's, yeah.
Oh, let's go down that side. This side is-
And then I'll switch sides.
Oh, I see.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been retired since '82. I got tired, so I retired. Then, since that time, I've been having some interesting illnesses. And I'll be glad to tell you, we got 24 hours. But other than that, really, we've been enjoying ourselves. And if she'd have married me when we first met, we'd have been married a long time. But as it is, it's just 48 years in December. So that's a long time to look at somebody across the breakfast table, though, isn't it? And I've got to leave you with one little bit of advice, and that's from that great Norwegian philosopher, Haggard and Harlow. And and I shall paraphrase it to a degree. We're not as young as we used to be, but we're not as old as we're going to be.
Since I stopped teaching, I wasn't really retirement.
Jane Shields.
I have still been writing and writing every day except Christmas. You know what I think is the nicest thing about teaching in a community the size of this one is that you keep running into your former students and you have a chance to keep up with what's going on with them, run into them in the grocery store, in the library, and other places. There goes my earring. Monday, I'm having lunch with two former deans, students Rose Marie Capatillo and Mary Ellen Bell Morris, if anybody remember them. So that's one of the fun things I do.
Been retired 12 years after I wore out 3 junior high schools.
13 years.
Is this 13? She said.
Yeah,
Okay, my math's not good. And now I do as little as possible.
Well, this year I'm just beginning a semi-retirement. For the last 20 years I've been in the air conditioning and heating business. I got out of ranching in '71 and things smell better for the last 20 years. But we have 3 children and our youngest is a school teacher. We have 3 grandchildren. And I still have Virginia.
Your son-in-law is a school teacher.
And I'll tell you, I did really have something interesting in my family happen this year. My brother-in-law that lives in Baird, Texas, was inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame this year in Oklahoma City, and that was really interesting for us. And we enjoyed going up there, and
The whole family went.
the whole family went. That's about all.
Okay, can you tell us about Marshall? Well, I'm not letting him retire completely.
I said semi.
But I haven't worked in years. I guess I quit and started teaching over and over again more than anybody, so, but I love it now. We have good kids when you talk. I don't think I can stand it. But I don't have anything to add other than what Marshall said. Say?
Well, of course, Annette and I started, have known each other all our lives, started the school in the first grade together, went all through school, went to college together, and so forth. Then the Army called us, or the military service did, and we corresponded and everything else. We had never dated or anything, we were just good friends the whole time. But anyway, we corresponded during the war, and then when we got out, why, old George, just like all the other men, I guess, he found a gal and another gal and married her, and had a daughter. But the marriage didn't last very long. But now I have 2 granddaughters. One of them is a junior at Cherry, and the other one is in a little school, what's
Taylor Ray.
Taylor Ray, yeah, Taylor Ray. But Antoinette spent 30-some-odd years in the teaching profession, plus 4 years in military service. I was in military service for 4 years. I worked 22 years for operating the Exxon wholesale house here, and then I put 6 years in as athletic business manager for Lamar School District, and then retired in '80, and I said I'd give up. So in '81, I retired. Since then, we've been on 1 or 2 trips, and other than that, of course, now she is spending her time, bless her heart, taking care of cancer patients and people, driving them to Houston for treatments and so forth. And I, of all things to be doing, manicure the Martin Cemetery in Richmond. Those of you that don't know Texas history, you ought to come over sometime.
We had a little bad deal with coaching down here. my fault. So I decided I didn't want to coach anymore. Well, I taught 1 year in PE class at Samuel High School, which was another pity place. And after that, well, I immediately got back into coaching. And I did love coaching. And I spent, 5 years here and then the rest in Dallas. So that was 32 years. And then Janina, my wife, she passed away last August, so it'll be 2 years this August she'll be gone. But when we lived in East Dallas and then moved to Oak Cliff in an old urban pioneer area and had all the houses there with big old 2-story jobs that had 5 families living in them. So we bought 3 of those and redid those, and it became a historic area. So after I quit coaching at Adamson, I went to Lincoln High School in deep South Dallas, because I am an old South Dallas boy, and that's a solid minority school. And you know, since I was from South Dallas, I wanted to see if I could help other kids, but you can't help. But anyhow, after we had done the houses there, and the Urban Pioneer really was successful, I sold the houses to doctors and lawyers, and then we moved to Waxahachie, be 9 years in June, and bought an old Victorian Queen Anne home. It had been a duplex for 60 years, completely redid it. And I got into the refinishing business and selling antiques, and my house is it's on Main Street, and it's about nearly a whole acre, and so in the back of the house I just built, everybody calls it the Reynolds compound, but I kept building on to the back, and I've got my shop, and I've got my strip tank, and I've got everything back there, so I walk out my back door into the shop. I don't do any of the work anymore. I have 2 Mexican young men that work for me that are real good. And then we have 2 antique stores downtown, and I have space down there, and I sell my antiques there, plus people come by the house all the time to buy. And then there's several tour companies in Dallas that come down and have my house on tour at least twice a month. And so it's been, it was real good until, you know, Janine passed away. We'd been married 38 years, had 3 kids, and I don't have any grandkids though. So I'm kind of by myself. I do have some young ladies there that I know. And right after Janine died, the big story was that I had more food in my house, you know. I didn't know what to do with all the dishes, because some of them, you know, when I'd wash them, the name would get off of them. But, and then I did meet a lady that I went to high school with. She was a cheerleader when I played football at Forest in Dallas. And lo and behold, she came down to Waxahachie one day. She said just to see the town, but anyhow, I've been there. I can't get her out there, so she lives on the other side of Dallas. But I've been going with her a little bit, and it's been a lot of fun. So, as everybody knows, time cures everything. So, I think I'm doing real well, and I am enjoying life.
Wait just a minute.
That's okay.
You want to turn around?
Mine's long.
We want to get you a good side of your turn.
Oh, this is the best side. Get that fever blister in there. Yeah, my finger. Am I on?
You're on.
When I was born June 6th, and I was a beautiful child. No, I started teaching here at junior high. It was my first teaching job ever with Mr. Nelson as my principal. In fact, Ralph and I started the same year, 1953, 54. And then I taught in junior high for heavens, yes. And then I didn't get to high school until 66, and I taught in both schools for about 7 more years. And 23 years all told at Lamar, 11 at Wharton. And I must say I enjoyed Lamar more than I did Wharton. It was easier at Wharton, but I enjoyed this much more. I don't think I would now. But I have a madrigal group now that keeps me out of trouble, or in trouble. I have a church job, which is excellent. I'm thoroughly enjoying that. I have about 30 members in the church choir, and they're just superb. And that's about it. Still play the piano. I have 4 folks that I coach. I do not teach private piano. I cannot stand it. Yeah, I did. It was
no,
And that's been sent.
right. Well, and they never did anything.
Never progressed.
But I love to coach boys, because, you know, that's languages and all that good stuff, and that's fun. And you can see immediate improvement. Or if they don't, then don't ask them back.
I want to tell a story on Tom since he's talking here, though. He used to come to see Janine and I when we lived over in the schoolhouse on the old, in Richmond over there. And I couldn't sing, you know, anything. And he was always trying to feel around, and you got the projector right in here on the diaphragm. I didn't even know what my diaphragm was. We had a lot of fun.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I haven't been retired all that long. It's been 2.5, almost 3 years. I still do a lot of hunting and fishing every time I get a chance. Work in the garden, I put up stuff, do quite a bit of cooking. And a lot of people ask me what I do since I retired. I said I do a lot of grocery store, Georgia. I work in Georgia, but I play golf. But I stay pretty busy. I don't know how I got on my ear and because I can run in constantly. Anyway, that's about it. I have fun.
And he failed to help.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I came in 1954 too with Ralph and Tom, and taught until we moved to Walden. And about a little over a year and a half, and then dropped out about 10 years, had 4 kids, before I went back to teaching. And finished out a term for Mr. Nelson at junior high, before I went on to high school also. And taught there. All total, I had 27 years teaching when I retired. And like most everybody said, I wish I retired sooner. I'm involved now with my own art, teaching private art, when we don't have our grandkids with us. And even then, Christopher takes, he's 4 years old, he takes an art lesson too, and the others do. And I'm trying to write, I don't write every day like Jean does. I have too many hours in the fire trying to get the garden done and everything, but I do write, and belong to the writers group. Fairly enjoy it.